Hey guys, how's it going? James here from Audio.etc. Back at it on the Jag Wednesday. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't started filming yet. Reason being, I've just been all over the place today, in the shop, out of the shop, around town, the place, so it's been very inconsistent and sorry. But first, here's some footage from some work I did carrying on last night. Because rather than going home at the regular time, I stayed a wee bit later and just got a wee bit more done in the back of this car. So I'll show you that now. Hey guys, it's James from the past. Here's what I've gotten done just for you yesterday evening. The RCAs are running down the center channel. Actually, maybe easier if I... So, RCAs are coming out of their cavity. They're on along, they're cable tied a couple of times. I managed to get them underneath this elastic belt thing, under the channel, under the other elastic belt. Ouch! And then they sort of go along there, pop up, and out of there. And then the rest of the loom from the center goes down and under the right rear passenger seat. So I got this big panel off, obviously. I can't get it completely out of the car because everything is, the seat belts are all holding it in place. So it's cable tied. At this point, I managed to cable tie them to sit flat to take up as little vertical height as possible. So it's cable tied down under there, runs under this, some more cable ties, follows the main loom up and through that foam grommet there and into the trunk. So that's the RCAs all sorted. I've also been doing the right rear speaker. This is all done, ready to go. The speaker that I took out was on this metal bracket, but it was like a 6-inch, maybe a 6.5. I think these type X's might actually be 6 3/4 because I had to widen the hole in the metal by about 1.5 millimeters, about 1 millimeter the whole way around. It just wasn't quite big enough for this to fit all the way in. So I had to take my time with the power file and widen the circle up by 1 millimeter the whole way around. And then after I had done that, I put a layer of foam tape underneath the speaker, which you can see there. Mounted it in with bolts, washers and nuts. Put some crimps on the wiring and put it back in. Also, I put this foam thing, see this foam thing here? That was originally stuck onto here, but the speaker wouldn't fit through it. Like you can actually see the part where I knifed it off, just there. So that first part there, that's what that foam was stuck to. Then there's my foam tape, then there's the speaker. So this speaker didn't fit inside that. But so what I've done is I've shoved it back in this hole which was meant to seal the card to the speaker. And so now when I put this whole panel back on, the speaker's gonna like kind of push up against this, which will hopefully seal the sound of the speaker to go out the grill. It won't touch the surround of the woofer. This foam piece just lines up with like the whole outside of the basket. So hopefully that'll line up and work well. But otherwise, I'm about ready to put this whole side back on, which is why I'm just making this piece of film now, because I'm not going to be able to show you tomorrow, because I'm probably going to put this whole panel back on now. But yeah, otherwise, everything is cable tied and run neatly. Speakers mounted in, looking good. I don't think it's going to make much bass back here, given that this is one big open cavity, but you know, you still do it. So yeah, I'm going to stick this panel back on now. Okay, I got that rear right cover panel back on. I also removed the factory subwoofer from the parcel tray there. But I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it out yet. Once I've got the subwoofer and everything done, I'm going to try listening to the sound of the car with it in, acting as a passive radiator, and with it out, so that it's just like a port. Yeah, and we'll just see what sounds better. Because sometimes passive radiators can work. The other thing I've also just done now, the whole center console back together completely. So that's one less thing to do. Alright, time for me to go home now. I'll see you guys tomorrow, I guess. Back to present James. And we're back, present day James this time. So so that's what I did last night, following after I had finished off with that X trail. So now let me show you pretty much what I've been doing today. I've spent most of today from the time that I've had on the Jag in this trunk area, just tidying everything up. First of all, I'll just go left to right rather than in order of what I did, because it's all over the place. I'd managed to tidy up all the wiring that was down here. You can kind of see some of it cable tied up over there, so that just runs along and back, and it's cable tied with all of that loom so that it is tidy and out of the way. You'll also see I've got my subwoofer wire run that is going with the factory loom all in behind here. And then up in this corner, so I got the RCAs through last night. Oh, those are a wee bit messy, hold on one second. Hop in the boot here, and it's really hot. So RCAs come through the hole there. Everything is cable tied. They run down here. They go under the electric aerial base there, and then just sort of all the excess gets tucked up in there, and then back to the amp location. I've also got all my speaker wires done. This whole area here where all the speaker wires, the factory wires are, is all done and hooked up. You can see all the heat shrink connections here. So those ones there, what are they? They're all the speaker wires. Yeah, and the remote wire, that little yellow one there is the remote wire. And then we got the rest of it sort of bundled loop there. These ones here, you can see these silver wires. They go off to the crossovers for the tweeter. So here's the wires coming from the amp, which go up to the Type X crossovers up there, and they're just velcroed in place. But they will stay, and you can kind of see I wrote on some masking tape on the left tweeter and right tweeter. There we go. So the crossovers, the wires run down, and it all connects up back here. And then what else did I did the power wire. So under here, power wire just comes off the battery, goes into this fuse holder here. I haven't got a fuse in it yet. That'll be one of the last things I do. I'll put a 150 amp fuse in it. So we've got some Monster 4 gauge red, very, very good quality, thick 4 gauge through there, and then 2 pieces of Monster 4 gauge coming out of here, because this can take 0 gauge at both ends. So I've got 2 pieces of 4 gauge coming out of there, which cable ties and follows with the loom up, down, around, through behind the back there. And those aren't hooked up yet, but there's my power cables coming out of there. My grounds are also done, but I can't show you where it's bolted to the chassis because I've got this in the way. But in behind there, I'll show you what this looks like with this out as well. I've just been in the last sort of half hour working on, or maybe hour, working on mounting the amplifier. So I found this big piece of metal, and I've just been carving it to the right shape, and it's also setting up on some stilts as well. So you can see that bolt there. That bolt is going through a factory hole, like, where is it, like this, in the car, bolting it down, and it goes through this piece of metal here, which is a little stand up. There's the one on that side. And I did that just to elevate it a wee bit, and what that does is it gets it to the right height so that when that goes back on, it looks in line. But yeah, otherwise this is the 4 channel that's going to be on the bottom. I'm going to put the monoblock on top. This is something I've wondered about, and I suppose you could debate it from either side. If you're stacking amplifiers, do you put a 4 channel? What one do you put on top? The one that's going to produce more heat or less heat? Because if you put the monoblock, the one that will produce more heat, on top, then it's got lots of room above it for the air to ventilate, which is great. But you've also got heat coming from underneath it from the 4 channel, so is that good or is that bad? In which case do you put the monoblock on the bottom, which means that there's no heat coming from under it, but it has got a great big amp on top of it to kind of prevent ventilation. So you could probably argue it from either direction. But anyway, I'm probably going to put the 4 channel on the bottom, unless I get overwhelming comments in the comment section saying no, put the monoblock on the bottom. If you guys all agree that that's the better option, I'll do that. But yeah, anyway, that'll stack on top of here. I'll line up with those slots. And yeah, it's been going pretty well. I've just been making sure that all the wires are tidy, you know, like I've done so many cable ties, everything is loomed up, neat, test fitting. So yeah, I'll quickly unscrew this and show you the other half of it. Okay, there we go, I've got those bolts undone, so now I can just, this one's almost, there we go. M6 bolt. Another M6 bolt. And then at the moment I have got this secured to the bracket, so it's all going to come off at once. Oh, and I've got it plugged in as well. Let me just unplug the speaker wires. And the RCAs. Okay, there we go. Oh, it plugs in there. There we go. This is just secured to here with some self-tappers. You can see them on the underside there, but I did power file off the ends of them so that they're blind. And here are these little stilts I was talking about. So these are just sitting over top of these factory bracket nut hole things. This would have been where the factory brackets for all the amplifier and everything would have bolted to anyway, so I'm just using the exact same holes. So they just sit there and lift it up to the right height. And then obviously we've got our 4 speaker channels. This one, these are the fronts because you've got the silver wires from the tweeter crossovers going into them as well. And then the rear channels, and then the remote wire is in there which solders to this little thin yellow one just here. I think I need to extend this wire just a wee bit though. And then obviously we've got our 6-channel RCAs, monsters for the 4 channels and Rockford Fosgate for the mono block. And the excess just kind of shoves up there out of the way. Now the ground. I got both of the monster negative wires going into a great big fat crimp there, which is going through a factory bolt. So that was a stud that was just sitting there. So I, as you can see, ground off all the paint and stop going out of focus. Ground off all the paint, put a nut on it, done. And then you can see I put some heat shrink around there. I put heat shrink around this one as well. That just kind of holds the 2 wires nice and close together. But yeah, there's my grounds, nice and short. So the tricky part is just going to be getting it all wired up in the hole. But so far we're making good progress. So I'm hoping tomorrow I might actually be able to get the amps fully mounted in place. And then I still need to do the rear left speaker because I haven't done that yet. But if I can get the amps mounted in place and fired up, that'd be great tomorrow. But yeah, it's going good. I've just spent so much time today tidying things, making the wires run in a tidy fashion. Like, even though it looks like a big jumbled mess, this is all how it was factory. You can see everything follows the factory wire loom directions. Oh yeah, the subwoofer cable. There's the connector for the subwoofer amp subwire, which follows with the factory loom behind me there, then pops out over this side. Here's a better look at the shape. So you can see I had to carve some angle off of that corner because of the fact that the car is angled. And then that little cutout there, I thought I needed to do that to begin with, but it turns out I didn't need to do it. It was because of this black box there. It was in the way, but then I forgot that it was sitting up another few 5mm on those stilts, so I probably didn't need to do that. But yeah. Oh, and I had to carve out these great big holes here for the bolts to go through, because drilling a hole for the bolt was easy enough, but I had to grind away this section here so that the flange of the bolt would go through. You'll see what I mean. Like if I put this here, the flange was so wide that it was getting in the way. But yeah, that's all of that. I might check this out actually. So yeah, cast your votes tonight, guys, because I won't change it after tomorrow. Do I put the 4-channel on the bottom and the mono block on top, or other way around? What do you guys recommend? Is it better off having air above the hot one, or better off having no heat coming from underneath the hot one? You tell me, because there's arguments for both sides. And then once I've got those amps in and fired up and the rear left speaker done, as soon as I got the rear left speaker done, I can put the whole rear area back together. Got the amp and get the amps in, put some of the boot back together, and then I can finally start working on the sub box, which I'm going to have to absolutely power through because I haven't got that much time to do a custom sub box. But anyway, yeah, that's me for today, guys. Sorry it was a shorter video. Sorry I didn't film it as I was going, but as I say, I was all over the place today. So yeah, it's just easier to, and like, what good would it have been you guys seeing me in real time do up a million cable ties? So it's just as easy just to show you what I've done now at the end of the day. But anyway, thanks for watching today's slightly different, slightly shorter, hopefully still interesting video. Choose to be happy, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Kite Ano.